And all right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome tonight to the Ukatsu High School Esports League, brought to you by Columbia College. My name is Ben, and together tonight, casting with me is also Ben, and we'll be casting the week 3, the second game of the week between Rockbridge High School and Jefferson City High School. How are you feeling tonight, Ben?
Pretty good. Yeah, I'm excited for this matchup.
And for the most part, I know a lot of these kids are very excited, not only jump into this game, but jump right into spring break right after this. This was the last week of school for a lot of these high schoolers, and it seems like right after this, some of them might be going on vacation, and that sounds pretty exciting for them. But we're here tonight, though, to cast some League of Legends. So the first thing that we're going to get into tonight is the B team game for both Jefferson City High School and Rockbridge High School. Let's jump into Champion Select whenever you guys are ready. All right. Looks like both teams now, we're back on the board here. Both teams are banning away the champions they do not want to play against before they start selecting the characters. They do. Coming out on the blue side, which is the left side of the screen for you guys spectating right now, is the Rockbridge B squad. They elect to ban away the Warwick, and in turn, Jefferson City responds with the Tristana ban. What are your thoughts on that, Ben?
Yeah, Warwick has actually seen a lot of play in the B team games. He's very aggressive. He gets a lot of movement speed. He can run around the map super fast and kind of catch people off guard. So I think it's a pretty good ban. Galio coming in as well, another really good champion against coordinated and uncoordinated teams, just because of how fast he can show up at different points on the map.
We've seen Galio picked a number of times actually in the last couple of weeks.
Pretty good champ.
Yeah, so actually, now to be clear, for the most part, this B team roster for from Rockbridge, they've had some pretty good games coming out. We talk about this a lot actually last couple of weeks, is Rockbridge has one of the most experienced B team rosters on their side. All of their members actually are pretty close to the A team's caliber, and they can be interchangeable, especially compared to other high schools. So we might see a little bit higher quality play here in comparison to other B team games throughout this league. Rounding out the rest of the bans here, we're seeing a Yorick ban coming out from Rockbridge and followed up by a Timo and Lux ban on Jefferson City. For not the most part, I wouldn't consider these very meta bans.
Yeah, definitely not. They're not just like overall strong champs, but maybe we have some target bans going on where one player is just excels at one champion, and so you just want to take that away from them.
Yeah, you have to wonder again. These teams are being kind of consulted, or as well as kind of in comms with their coaches at the moment during the picks and bans. So, hopefully you have to imagine there's a lot of strategy that's going into this. These players do know each other somewhat intimately, and in that regard, they obviously understand that some people have comfort picks.
Yeah, Malzahar being the first pick up here for Rockbridge, a really solid mid laner. He's kind of fallen out of favor since they reworked the AP items, but he can still be really good for locking down one other person.
Yeah, so actually that's something else that's important to note, actually. For the Rockbridge B roster, Tristan Mini, he is not normally their mid laner. He actually used to be their support, but both Dasso and Tristan Mini, they have swapped lanes. Now Dawson's rounding out, coming in at the support lane. So I'm assuming the Malzahar pick will be going over to Mini in the mid lane. Coming out to round out two more picks, though, for Rockbridge, we see Jarvan the fourth, a very common pick throughout this league. A lot of engage coming out for the most part. We see that very commonly in these team fighting compositions that honestly all of the teams in this league love to utilize.
Yeah, Jarvan is so good against immobile champions like Jinx and Brand here as well, just because if they don't have flash and he ults them, they are stuck in that pit with him, allowing his teammates to catch up and finish them off. So I'm liking Rockbridge's composition right now, but Jefferson City, if they get ahead, they have a lot of damage.
Yes, the Jinx, the Brand, those are traditionally hyper carries coming out. Oh, we're seeing someone, looks like there might have been an issue coming out of one of the rosters. Looks like someone on Rockbridge's side has left the game. Hey, we're seeing smiles coming out from the players on Rockbridge's side. It's all right. These issues come up. Not really sure exactly what the issue is. Looks like it's being solved, though, pretty quickly. But in the meantime, of course, we're going to jump right back into it as soon as that issue is resolved. But again, though, thank you guys for all of you coming out tonight. We actually skipped over it a little bit earlier on, but This is a Ukatsu High School Esports League brought to you guys by Columbia College, Armstrong Teasdale, Columbia Public Schools, Jefferson City Public Schools, Veterans United, and Hawthorne Bank. And we got a pretty large crowd tonight for the first couple of matches. The A-team rosters, of course, will be playing a little bit later tonight after the B teams play. And for the most part, it's just pretty relaxing here. And I think a lot of it has to do with how comfortable some of these players have gotten on stage. I talked to a couple of them beforehand, and one of them said before, I've done this 2 weeks now in a row. And it's not to say that he wasn't feeling the stress or the pressure, but that he's beginning to feel more comfortable being on stage and kind of feeling that pressure that comes with the competitiveness of these games.
Yeah, that makes sense. And after this game, all the teams have played each other. So going into the 4th and, then the 7th week after these, we're going to start to develop like a meta between the teams themselves. You're going to look at last week's games. You're going to look at the last 2 games. And it'll create like a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Almost like an extended best of 5, best of 3 scenario.
That's very true. If you guys didn't know already, actually, that this is actually a 9-week competitive season between the Columbia Public Schools, Jefferson Public Schools, between these teams, both the A and B rosters. And this is the end of week 3, meaning that the first round robin, where every team has competed against each other once, will now be complete. And we're going to see a little bit of a kind of like shake-up, so we kind of see which teams are looking to be the strongest coming in out of the first third part of the split. And right now, actually, Rockbridge A is currently the only team sitting at 2-0. They currently are undefeated, and we're going to see if they can close out the first run of this round robin undefeated.
Yeah, we'll be on the lookout for that tonight. 3-0 is pretty fun. Good way to start the season.
Yes, for sure. For the most part, though, I'm actually really excited to watch. Again, actually, I shouldn't be like. It's a little bit surprising, actually, but I'm very excited to watch this B-team roster between both schools. They have very experienced players on both sides, and we kind of saw that last week between Hickman B and Battle B. I believe not. I shouldn't say last week. It was actually just Wednesday, only a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
But it was probably one of the bloodiest, most crazy team fighting game that we have seen in a long time. Or at least at first in this league. At 10 minutes, I believe, they had 15 kills already on the board.
Yeah, it was quite the fiesta. It was a fun one to watch.
All right, it looks like the issue has been resolved. The player Dawson, who left the game unknowingly, don't know what he was doing. He is now back in the lobby, and we're jumping back into picks and bans. Luckily enough, though, all the picks have still been secured. Looks like we're back in the banning phase. We don't have to go over all of it again.
Yeah, I didn't even know that would happen. I think it might be a bug. I think they'll just go through the bans. We'll see.
Yeah, it actually might be a bug. Even though we're seeing multiple members, the same picks already selected, we're re-going through the bans once again. So like we saw before, the Warwick, the Tristana, the Galio.
Yeah, teams are just going to go through what they banned previously. I'd be curious after they ban if they get to pick or if it's just going to go right to the next ban phase. I guess we'll find out in a couple seconds here.
It's your funeral.
All right, though. I'm honestly hoping that it's not going to glitch out again. But at the very least, it's giving the teams the same kind of... All right, no, we're just going to relock in the picks that they already had. Even though it's showing the images of the champions picked before, we're going right back through the same picks up until the second phase of bans. Something I want to highlight as well, Mini, we see him selecting or hovering the champion Darius over his picture here for Rockbridge's mid. That is definitely going top lane for Frozen Maelstrom. He actually had a highlight play, one of the instant classic replays that we saw brought to you by Veterans United Home Loans. He actually had a clean 2v1 in the top lane. Very comfortable pick for him in week 1. And so, kind of surprised to let him have that pick. Again, it's one of those picks that he's very comfortable on. He obviously has highlights on it. And so that's going over to Lee, Frozen Maelstrom. So Darius is also a pick that you don't ever want to see get going. And you know that he's comfortable on it.
Yeah, and Jefferson City didn't pick up a top laner in their first rotation, so Rockbridge gets the advantage of banning out anything that Darius wouldn't want to play into, and it looks like that might be their strategy here with the Garen ban. Probably another top lane ban or a support, because Jefferson City hasn't picked one of those up yet, but getting that Darius ahead is really important. There's the Lulu. Lulu is...
That's a good ban.
she doesn't play into Darius, but once you get to the team fight phase, she can kind of stop Darius right in his tracks with the shields and the instant health.
As one of those supports that has a lot of abilities that peel, like the abilities that kind of can take other enemies off of the carries for your team. It's very, very strong pick, very annoying. See the Xayah pick coming out for Rilo. Ooh, Xayah and Rakan, the lovers bot lane, so to speak. And then two characters in their lore, they are actually lovers in the sense that they're bonded, and it's. To be honest, the lore isn't as important to this game as it is just really cool to see that they're picking two characters that synergize really well.
Yeah, what's important is that they were designed to be picked together, so they're both stronger when they're played on the same team as each other. On Jefferson City side, with the Ornn and the Nami pickup, Nami Jinx can be a pretty strong lane. You have some sustain there, but if they get hard engaged on, maybe post 6, it's a little hard for them to stay safe. And with that Ornn pickup, again, he's going to get bullied very hard by that Darius.
Yep, and that's definitely one thing you want to point out, too, is like on Rockbridge's side, they have a lot of engage, a lot of stuff moving forward, and I think it'll be up to Jefferson City High School to keep Jinx and Brand in the backline, keep them alive. Now, they do deal a lot of damage. Like we said before, Jefferson City does have a lot of damage on their roster in that composition. Now, it's going to kind of be up to whether or not they can stay alive.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how these team fights play out, and I think Jefferson City really wants to kind of kite backwards. They want to be able to just drop the Brand ult, get the Ornn ult down, maybe lock a few people down with the Sejuani slows, and really just allow Jinx to deal damage, whereas Rockbridge needs to get the Darius and the Jarvan into the fight, get that Rakan with a big engage, and I think in the late game, it's going to be really close. It's going to be down the execution, really. Jefferson City might have a harder time just getting to that late game, though, due to the lane matchups. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yes. Now, of course, go over this every single time we get in the matches, but unless you are Riot Games Studios, the creators of the game League of Legends, you cannot spectate the game immediately. So while the players right now are jumping into their games, jumping into their lobbies, they're about to play right now. We have to wait on a 3-minute timer before we can jump into the spectating view. So in that time, though, we're going to try to break down exactly what the compositions look like, who our picks are, who we favor to win, walk away with this first game of the night. Actually, we'll throw it to you right now, Ben. Who do you think has the better composition? I actually think both teams right now have a pretty strong identity on both sides of the ball. I think they have a very good idea of what they need to do for their win conditions. It's very apparent. And I think both teams synergize pretty well together.
Yeah, one big difference here is Malzahar taking Ignite. Now, we're not sure if he's taking Unsealed Spellbook, which is going to let him switch to that teleport maybe after an early kill, but that'll give Jefferson City maybe some macro outplay if they can position correctly. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Brand probably just looking to hit 6 and play for the team fights. There's a lot of melee champions, too, on Rockbridge, so that Brand is really going to excel. And if Jinx can get to late game with that Runons and her rocket range, she can do a lot of damage in these team fights.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like we said before, we talked about for the most part Rockbridge's ability to engage. Actually, re-looking at it, I'd say Jefferson City almost has a better engage composition when you take into account Ornn, played by Kang Turtle in the top lane, and as well as DJ Rice's Sejuani. They have a lot of engage, a lot of CC crowd control ability to lock down champions from Rockbridge's side.
I could see maybe if Rockbridge stays too clumped up in these team fights, the Nami ult, the Ornn ult, then the Sejuani Brand being dropped. There's a lot of just heavy, close range impact. But, maybe if the Jarvan gets a flank or Rakan comes in from the back of the fight, that could be the end. One good Rakan ult into a Jarvan, into Xayah, that's devastating late game. So we'll have to see how the team fights are played out. Jefferson City really just want to, like I said earlier, just be able to kite back and use those ultimates, maybe overlap them a little bit and just destroy Rockbridge with crowd control.
I have to agree. So what's your pick if you had to favor which side? What team do you think is going to walk away with the first win of the night?
In general, I think compositions that have more engage are just easier to play overall. And so, I think Jefferson City has a good comp, but I'm going to go with Rockbridge just because, the Jarvan, the Malzahar, the Rakan, they're all easy go buttons that everyone can follow up on.
All right, with that, we have 4 seconds. We're jumping into game. The first game of the night between the B rosters of Jefferson City and Rockbridge High School. And once again, it's going to round out, like I said before, the last week of round robins for these two teams. And Pretty excited.
Yeah, it's definitely, based on the comp, it's going to look to be a good game here.
Hopefully, like we said before, we're going to see a little bit more team fighting specifically. That tends to happen in these more heavy engaged kind of compositions. Teams are on the same page, and we're going to see a lot of action probably on the map in the mid to late game as characters, champions start to get their items.
Yeah, and that's kind of just the meta right now. It's really objective focus, getting Baron early, so you want to focus on those team fights, and obviously certain champs excel at that, so that's what we're seeing a lot of here. Jarvan, Sejuani, great junglers for picking fights or even kiting back, really.
And yeah, I think it's going to be about, hopefully it's going to just break down to this team synergy, something that these guys have developed for the last couple of weeks. And yeah, I think that's really what goes back into, we said a little bit before, the situation that was going on in the bot lane for Rockbridge over there. And so we had a lane swap coming in from Dasso and Mini. Mini used to be the support, Dawson was the mid laner, but we know that Dasso and Riley and Dawson actually had some synergy outside of the game before they started playing on this team. They used to duo together and play in that sense, and now they're back together in the lane where they were most comfortable. So we're going to see if they have a little bit more, maybe they have a little bit different dynamic down there, and maybe that's a lane that Rockbridge B side wants to focus on.
Yeah, and with, they're actually, this team's going to play 7 more games, right? So getting that figured out early in the season is pretty good, and it'll allow you more time just to develop those synergies as the series goes on. This is the last game of the round robin for the B teams, so they have 2 more chances against each other team. A lot of time to keep working on their macro and their synergy and all that, so it'll be cool to see how the teams develop from week to week.
Yeah, and on the flip side, we talked a little bit before about Rockbridge A being 2-0. Currently, Jefferson City B is sitting at 0-2. So this game is pretty important for them in terms of starting out the season. If they win this game, they'll be tied with Rockbridge B, and that's a good place to be. I don't think you want to start the season 0-3. Obviously, though, as you're starting out, you have to learn new things. They are a newer club. They didn't have as much experience playing together as some of these other schools. And so that definitely plays a factor in kind of adjusting and acclimating to the climate that is this high school esports league.
Yeah, definitely. Looks like both junglers just starting on the bot side. Pretty standard right now. You get a better leash on the bottom side of the jungle.
And so traditionally, though, both of these junglers, they do see a pretty large spike around their level 6. So, and that's usually how you judge about how much a jungler will be ganking or earlier on when you think about kind of like pathing. But I think that both these junglers do have strong engages, strong ganks, that we'll probably see a lot of action coming out from them early on. Now, again, for you guys watching who don't really know exactly what junglers mean, there's currently, of course, there's 3 lanes in League of Legends, and of course, there's the jungle. And the jungler's job is to farm those camps in that neutral area, and that's how they get their gold, and that's how they get their items. And from the jungle, they'll then gank other lanes, kind of flank and force 2v1 situations, try to force these odd numbers to help their teammates out.
Yeah, and it looks like Rockbridge got a great engage early. And it's going to get turned around on the Rakan, maybe going a little bit too deep. Unfortunately, Jinx, it looks like she had to burn her summoners maybe on a level 1 Xayah Rakan play, though, or else she would have been able to follow up on that.
That was a pretty aggressive flash play coming out of Dasso. He does miss the flash. Multiple summoners are burned, though, down there. And that's kind of what we see, though, in Xayah Rakan. They do have this synergy as a champion duo. They are traditionally stronger earlier on in lane and can bully out other opponents. Just looked like he missed his abilities there, and they were punished pretty hard there.
Yeah, and in the long run, this is going to play out better for Rockbridge because when your support takes most of the damage, he has those 3 potions to start. And you see he's back to full health already, whereas Jinx, she has the Nami heal. Well, at least, but she only has that 1 potion. So ideally, if you can get the damage on the AD carry, that's a good spot to be in. Now it looks like the junglers are going to run into each other in this river, fighting for the Scuttle Crab. Sejuani caught out, when they don't give the kill over to the Darius. Jarvan's just going to take that one, but good first blood.
Yeah, but that's Jordan playing. Jordan JT plays 3 on the J4 right here, guy with the big spear. He's actually a just converted jungler. He didn't used to play this until very recently when he wanted to join the team. And he said before he really likes playing the jungle position. He's learning a lot, and there you go, like making a highlight play earlier on, picking up the first kill of the game 3 minutes in.
Yeah, jungling definitely has one of the steeper learning curves, so good job on him getting that first blood. Good showing.
Yeah, it just seemed like Sejuani was caught out a little bit there in the river by DJ Rice. Frozen Maelstrom Lee roams down, helps secures it.
Mhm.
Otherwise, though, it looks like everything's slowed down once again. Makes a little bit of sense. For the most part, though, I think that generally is what we'll see from Jefferson City side. They kind of want to slow this game out so they can scale. Both of their damage dealers, their mage in the mid lane, Voltix 1269, as well as Silver Eagle 99, played by Trent and Jarek. They're traditionally going to be the carries on this team. They need to wait till late game to get those items to deal a lot of damage.
Yeah, another fight breaking out in the bot lane. Jinx a little bit too far forward, maybe one auto away, and they're going to give it over to the Xayah. Good job by that bot lane.
We hear cheers coming out on the Rockbridge side of the room as they pick up another kill on the bot lane. Synergy, the very aggressive laner coming out of Rilo and Dasso.
Yeah, and that was probably just a play that Rockbridge was able to make because they burned the summoners early. Xayah Rakan has a lot of pressure in the early few levels. Darius and Ornn going to go ahead and fight here. Darius getting 5 stacks. Ornn does need to back out of this long run, but Darius getting low as well.
He did miss his Q there where he's spinning in a circle. If he hits other champions with that, he will heal. Unfortunately, he did miss the heal, so not as favorable of a trade for Frozen Maelstrom in the top lane.
Yeah, and both of them just about a minute away from hitting level 6. So, you know, if they both stay in lane with low HP here, you definitely want your jungler to come up. Easy kills if you end up getting like a 2v1 situation with your ult.
Otherwise, though, for the most part, it's pretty even in the top lane here. We talk always about the CS leads and differences in the top lane. As you can see, those numbers on the bottom of your screen next to their portraits is 28 to 30, meaning Ornn Turtle, he's only killed 3 more minions compared to Lee's 28. And again, killing minions, last hitting those little red and blue creatures in the lane, that's what grants extra gold, which of course allows people to buy items, makes them a lot stronger as the game goes on.
Yeah, Ornn hitting 6. Darius not expecting the damage, and just the solo kill up by Turtle. Very unexpected. Usually that's a losing matchup for Ornn, but really well played by him.
Did a great job being outside of the heals from Darius, landing his abilities very well. He also hit 6 earlier on, allowing him to get his ultimate, and that's what really allowed him to win that fight.
You know, I'd be curious. I wonder if Darius roaming down to help Jarvan early, maybe he missed some experience on those creeps, and that might have even set him behind because he didn't get an assist on the kill.
Yeah, something to take into account.
Yeah, something to look back at maybe.
But he did not burn any of his summoners. He probably could have escaped with that, so he does still have his flash up for the next engage that comes in the top lane. On the flip side, across the board in the mid lane, that's where we see the biggest CS differential, 34 to 25. Mini is currently up by about a little bit more than 10. But 15 minion kills, creep kills, that equals about 1 kill, just to keep that in mind when we think about gold and items that champions will have in comparison to each other.
Yeah, it's a good indicator. You know, it's important to know how far ahead the enemy is. So even if they have 0 kills, but they're 100 CS up, you know, you're definitely going to be a little bit behind.
Looks like we might see another skirmish going on above the mid lane between the junglers. JT plays 3. Jordan getting a little aggressive, trying to find an opening in the enemy Sejuani jungle. Look like she's going to back out, though.
Yeah, I guess they didn't want to take that 2v2. Brand is really strong in small engages as well as team fights, so I understand that. Just wanted to respect them there.
So currently, we're sitting at 7 minutes in the game right now. A little bit slower than I originally predicted. It's currently 2-1 in favor of Rockbridge. They picked up 1 more kill, and they're currently about 1,000 gold in the lead, mostly attributed to the gold lead and the small CS lead in the mid lane. But otherwise, it's pretty even, though, as far as League of Legends games go.
Yeah, and Ornn getting that first blood, he should be able to sustain this matchup pretty well now, as long as there's no surprise Jarvan ganks or anything that catches him off guard here. You should be able to just kind of farm out this wave now, play pretty safe. He is about to level up on Darius. He can still deal all that damage we saw earlier, so Ornn is a really strong pick just in general, and yeah, they weren't able to punish it early. Might get out of the lane phase for free now, which would be great for Justin. Bot lane, though, a little bit of a concern. Rakan's just going to jump right in.
Ooh, we see
hitting level 6 early, too. The Ignite goes down, but not enough damage to finish off that kill.
Again, that's just like what we saw in the top lane. They're playing around their level spikes both laners for Rockbridge hit level 6 first, allowing them to get their ultimates, and they try to find an engage, which they did. They did find a great engage, they just weren't able to pick up the kill.
Yeah, and you know that fight was good by Rockbridge just because the item advantage in the AD carry slot. Look at that, the Warhammer versus a second Doran. So Jinx doesn't have a lot of power compared to the Xayah right now. They can't really fight back and contest any of this.
More action going on in the top lane. Again, Frozen, Maelstrom, Lee trying to find some engages. He's dealing no damage. Ornn uses his ultimate, knocks him up. Looks like he's going to escape though with his life.
Yeah, he doesn't have the cooldowns to finish off that kill yet. Maybe a little ambitious pulling the trigger on the ult there, but still showing that Darius who's boss in this lane, keeping him pretty low.
Yeah, again, like you said before, it's kind of odd. You normally expect a Darius to do a little bit
Jinx
better.
rocket coming up the map, let's see.
Oh, it misses.
Yeah, they're probably expecting Darius to base under the tower there.
Yeah, normally you'd expect a champion like Darius to do a little bit better and then match up this in Ornn. You'd consider Ornn to be your tank engager and Darius to be your like a bruiser kind of fighter kind of pick. And traditionally he does very well into tanks. He can stack up his abilities. It's got like this weird passive that allows him to stack extra damage onto tanks specific, or I shouldn't say tanks specifically, on all champions, but tanks make it a little bit easier, especially in melee champions. He's just able to continually get his auto attacks out and build up stacks to deal more damage. So normally, Darius is very, very well into tanks.
Yeah, and it looks like they'll keep fighting.
Yeah, that's only going in favor, though, of Turtle.
Nothing else really happening in the other lanes, though. Rockbridge bot lane has a little bit of a lead, but it doesn't look like it's enough for them to maybe force anything this early. And Malzahar, he does have that ultimate. It looks like it's been used, but didn't turn into any kind of kill or anything. So not a lot of pressure put out by Rockbridge aside from in the top lane.
Looks like, though, blue side, Rockbridge is angling around the Infernal Drake, the first neutral objective of the game. So these are big monsters, neutral monsters that you can see on either pit side of the map, and they grant the team passive bonuses. This being the Infernal Drake that will grant the team bonus scaling damage later as the game goes on.
Yeah, Jeff City, their bot lane was getting shoved under tower, so Rockbridge did have lane priority in bot, but with Brand and Sejuani, I definitely think that's a fight you can take. They're just being a little cautious here, maybe trying not to overextend, relying on their late game.
Jordan's actually seen on a ward here. Jefferson City knows exactly where he's at, though. He does get out with his life pretty quickly using his EQ combo, but that was pretty cheeky.
Yeah, it looks like he just runs right into this mid lane. Spotted on a ward as well, though. Good vision coverage by Jeff City there to kind of fend off those ganks.
Yeah, so again, Rockbridge making tinier macro plays around the map. They had a good decision to move towards the dragon, even though they had no kills on the board. They just kind of knew that they had the pressure in all their lanes, and they translated that into an objective. But it looks like things have slowed back down again. And that's just something that you tend to see that we've been seeing a little bit more of, though, as the game's gone on. We've seen better macro plays from all of the teams, but it seems like everyone's starting to slow down, just specifically in this game.
Yeah, Rakan looking for another engage on Jinx, and this time Xayah has a little bit more damage to finish off that kill. Good job. I think every time that Rakan ult is up, he really needs to look for those plays on a mobile carries like Jinx. Really strong lane there.
Yeah, when you know she doesn't have flash up, she has no way to escape, and that's just the kind of fast engages that will help this Rockbridge team get ahead. And that's what we're going to see later on throughout this game. We get to the mid game, the late game, when people start deciding to team fight. It's going to be very, very fast, very quick engages.
Yeah, and the biggest discrepancy in CS here is in the mid lane. Now, Malzahar is a champion who can just kind of hit all of his buttons and push the wave almost for free. He spawns little creeps that push it for him. He has a lot of damage, and the Brand is just forced back under his tower. Look at the health on that turret. Malzahar hasn't even been hitting it yet, and he's just being able to shove him under tower and get all that damage done. And Brand is missing CS as well.
As I say, though, Trent is doing his best, though. While maybe not in a favorable matchup for him, he is backing up as not to take damage. He still hasn't given away any kills yet. Although he walks right into the Malzahar ultimate, and he's going to get ulted also by Jordan. They pick up a clean kill on Trent Voltix in the mid lane.
Yeah, really hard to roam into a Malzahar. The benefit of Malzahar being able to push the wave this fast is that he gets to roam and get to those side lanes even faster, and so that's what we're seeing there. No vision by Jeff City's side. Brand decides to go check what's up. Finds Jarvan in the bush as well.
Well, it looks like multiple members of Jefferson City are trying to roam down to the mid lane. We see the jungler and the top laner coming in to defend the first tier tower. Looks like they get the rest of Rockbridge to back off. But still, Rockbridge is starting to pull away with a tiny lead, winning these tiny skirmishes here and there. Currently a 4-1 kill lead and a 3,000 gold lead in favor of Rockbridge.
And Rockbridge can go ahead and make that play again anytime. So if Malzahar shoves this wave in and they have Jarvan top, they can get the Rift Herald. They have all of the vision on the top side of the map. And so they could just keep making that same play again and again when their ults are up. Just keep hovering towards top side, maybe even giving Darius a kill here and getting him back into this game.
We're seeing, might see another engage coming out of Jordan, seeing good pressure from him all over the map. Looks like though he's sighted though by DJ Rice on the Sejuani. What is he going to do? Is he going to take the blast?
Yeah, it looks like Jarvan was going for a dive here, but they're just playing around this blast plant. Jarvan can get over the wall for free. There he goes.
I will say though, even though Rockbridge does have the lead right now in both kills, dragons, and gold, they're not necessarily doing what they need to do to put them in a better spot for this game. And I mean that in the sense that they're not taking any objectives when we talk about towers. Because you can get as many kills as you want in the game League of Legends, you can get as much gold, but if you don't take the towers, you're not going to get to the Nexus and win the game. And scaling is what Jefferson City wants to do. As long as they can defend these towers, they're going to have time to reach their items later on in this game.
Yeah, Rockbridge did pick up the early Infernal. I thought that was really well played, but they definitely could be pushing the lead even harder with the Rift Herald still up on the map. And the next dragon spawning in a minute 30, so we'll see. Maybe they're just prioritizing the dragons a little bit harder. Looks like Nami's a little bit caught out here. She does have the Sejuani to back her up, so no worries there.
Things have slowed back down again. For the most part, it's just been traditional laning, a couple of ganks here and there, but both members in the mid lane and the bottom lane for Rockbridge are just pulling ahead in CS, 129 to 64 in the mid lane, 107 to 89 in the AD carry position, and that's going to start turning into real items very soon.
Yeah, and that dragon is up in 50 seconds. Both junglers just kind of hovering around this bot or mid lane. Maybe looking for a gank. Both their ults are up, so maybe they're just talking to their laner, seeing if they can set anything up right now. Rakan just going in for a cheeky little engage, kind of threatening the kill there.
Yep.
But
if they're tracking timers, they know that Jinx still has her flash up, or it has recently just come up, so she can't escape from some of these engages, potentially trying to pop it to make it easier for a gank or an engage later on. Looks like, though, Rockbridge does pick up the first tower in the mid lane. Tristan Mini, again, first time playing mid for this team. He pushes it down pretty cleanly and does secure the first tower.
Yeah, and that's just the power of Malzahar. If you don't get any help there,
we're seeing
looks
TP
like there's a
play
fight
down
going in the bot lane. The TP from Ornn and Sejuani showing up. This is a 2v4, but it looks like Rockbridge might get out of this alive. The re-engage back onto the Sejuani might finish her off. The Jarvan ult to lock her in place, and Malzahar following up with the teleport as well.
Ooh, huge
Ulting the
ult
Ornn in place. He's going to get rooted by side. Nice flash to get out of this, and he'll escape. Only one person going down in that fight.
Yeah, so earlier on, we actually saw a teleport coming in from Turtle in the top lane, as well as the gank coming in from the Sejuani, trying to force a 4v2 situation. Although the members of Rockbridge bot lane, they do escape long enough for multiple members of their team to respawn, and they pick up 2 kills, actually, even though that it was Jefferson City that had the initiative there. They also translate that into the Wind Drake for their team. That passively will give them out of combat movement speed buff.
Yeah, now Rockbridge coming up with a 5.5k gold lead. Just not really snowballing. Here's our replay though. Looks like play's just about to happen in bot lane. Ornn TP's in first and Sejuani shows up, but that Zyra Khan lane just able to sneak right out of the fight with that huge dash range. And then here comes the re-engage and the teleport from Malzahar. Now, Darius and Brand both have teleport, but decide not to use it for this fight, and maybe that could have swayed it even harder either way. That's something to look at here.
Yeah, but that was pretty. That's a pretty big gold swing in favor of Rockbridge High School. Jefferson City, they tried to double down on a quick engage coming out. Oh, we're seeing another engage coming out from Horn in the mid lane. He's roaming down all over the place. Knocks up Tristan Mini. Doesn't look like they're going to secure the kill, though. But yeah, like I was saying a little bit ago, they were trying to make the play on bot. It made sense. They had 4 people. It was 4v2. It definitely looked like they're going to walk away with at least 1 kill. But unfortunately, they didn't lock anyone down. And Rockbridge is able to respond very, very quickly.
Yeah, Zaya can be a pretty slippery champion. Looks like there might be a fight going to happen mid lane here soon. Jarvan just kind of hanging around. He is sitting on a ward, though, so they should be able to avoid this play.
Again, so we're hitting the 20-minute mark, probably about to enter the mid-game here as characters from Rockbridge are going to start finishing their second items. It's currently a 7K gold lead in favor of Rockbridge High School, 5-1 in kills, 2 dragons, 2 towers. But Jefferson City is not out of this game yet. All they really need to do is try to slow things down, get their items on their carries, and then they might be able to walk away with some wins in these team fights.
Yeah, the only big discrepancy here is this Brand in the mid lane. He hasn't really been able to get into any of those fights where he really excels, and so maybe Rockbridge just don't even give him a chance to do that if they keep playing the side lanes now. It'll be interesting to see. It looks like they're flanking through the jungle here, the Darius and the Jarvan. Just kind of looking for this red seal, but Ornn is also really far up, so I wonder if they go for the kill on him or if they just collapse on mid lane. Yeah, it looks like they're spotting out the Ornn now. The Jarvan's going to take the long way around.
He will be spotted, though, by the minions, so Turtle will know that he's about to get ganked.
Yeah, but he doesn't know Darius is in the bush, and he gets pulled right back into it. Starting off the combo right, but he misses the EQ. Ornn dashing into the wall to get a knockup. I don't know if he can win this 2v1, but there comes the Cataclysm, locking him in place. He's just going to...
Dunk.
Yep, there's the dunk. Plenty of time for Darius to get 5 stacks in there to get the true damage on the ultimate. It looks like Mini might overextend now in the mid lane. I don't think Brand can catch up to this, though, and no Sejuani ult will be used. Almost a really good punish by Jeff City there, but they just weren't close enough to get into that fight.
Yep. On the flip side, though, good rotations, though, by Rockbridge High School. Finding the pick in the top lane, the 2v1 situation, knowing no one on Jefferson City could respond, seeing them on the map, and they pick up a clean kill. And even if you can't force these objectives, you can just pick up some free kills here and there by playing the map well. That's just going to keep putting you in the lead.
Yeah, and here comes Darius flanking under this bottom tower. He is going to sit on a ward, and here is Sejuani as well right behind him. He's just going to back out of that play. Mini also TP'd mid during that, so if they wanted to commit to a dive, he wouldn't have had the teleport. Both
like
teams
DK,
just hovering around bot lane, though, really looking to make a play. It looks like Mini and the Jarvan have flanked it out. Rakan gets a 3-man ult. Zaya is going to get a giant root over the other side. The Namiel goes down, but it's not enough to stop the 5 members of Rockbridge showing up in this bot lane jungle. Really good collapse by Rockbridge's B team.
Yeah, that was huge. Initially, I wasn't sure if Rockbridge was in the right place. They're having 2 members in the enemy jungle. They might have been collapsed on by Jefferson City. On the flip side, though, Rockbridge initiates first, finding the collapse on multiple members, and that was just a clean CC chain by the Zaya Rakan. A huge engage coming out of Dawson in a support role, and that's just... That was clean.
Yeah, that was a really nice play. Typical bot lane, 5-man. And they're going to get 2 towers out of that, and this giant creep wave top is going to get lost to that tower, almost destroying it by itself.
Yeah, and that was doing a really good job translating that into objective. Esports really is all a numbers game. It's all about finding those advantages in those numbers, then picking up those 2 kills in the bot lane. They're able to translate that into 2 towers, and that's how you really want to close out a game here. All 5 members of Rockbridge are now currently positioned in the mid lane. They might be trying to force another engage. We'll say, though, they just pick up a lot of kills. They might have a lot of gold. They might be overstaying a bit here.
Yeah, and the Brand ult just got thrown down, so it didn't do too much damage. There's no threat of it anymore. But, you know, Rockbridge got a huge lead in that fight, but they haven't spent any of the gold that they earned. They need to go back to base. They need to buy the items that are going to make them stronger. right now we can look each player sitting at about 2,500 gold.
Huge sedge ult coming out, lands on Jordan, followed up by the ult from Turtle. Multiple engages going across the board. I will say Dawson had a great ult on the backline for Jefferson City. Multiple members got real low, but Rockbridge is able to find the kills on the right people in that fight. No one from Rockbridge goes down, and 2 members of Jefferson City fall to Rockbridge instead. And again, they haven't recalled yet. That's probably the biggest thing that we need to highlight here, is they haven't gone back to base to buy new items from the first engage they had.
Yeah, they really want this mid tower. Looks like they're finally going to decide to just back off and reset. Probably going to look for this Baron next with this 12,000 gold lead that they've accumulated.
Here again with the instant replay brought to you guys, of course, by Veterans United Homelands. So the first things first, the Sejuani is what started that whole engage there later on. But what really happened though is both teams split apart. Multiple members of the backline of Jefferson City were really the damages, the Jinx. She got separated from that fight, unable to back up her team, and Rockbridge then just collapsed on the members that are still isolated, that were really initially trying to start that whole engage, and that's really what happened. They got split up. Multiple members of Jefferson City go down, and Rockbridge is able to group together to secure success.
Yeah, Rakan with another huge ult on the back line, just able to keep all of the damage out of the fight while they shred through that Ornn. And unfortunately, Rockbridge was just able to fight that front to back, take out the tanks, and then take the tower as well. And here goes the Dragon too. A nice little collection of dragons with the Mountain, the Air, and the Infernal. They're going to have a lot of movement speed, a lot of damage, and Brand getting caught out here. Nice flash, but he does get pulled by the Darius, ulted by Malzahar. No chance of escape there. And that might just be the Baron. It looks like Rockbridge are either going to take the mid tower or just rotate over completely.
Yeah, currently it's 12-1. Started out pretty slow, but Rockbridge has now taken 3 very large engages, 3 very large fights, I guess, that went entirely in favor.
Yeah, Darius TPing up, and now that Ornn might be caught out of position. He has Sejuani to back him up, but they're going to chase for this kill. Burning the flash as well. Darius has Deadman's play. He is fast enough to chase that, but decides against it. All 5 people up in the top for Rockbridge. They probably could have forced that and maybe turned it into a kill, but just playing it safe right now. Here they go, looking for the 2v5 under this top tower.
I will say the second tier tower is pretty low. There's probably not a whole lot that Jefferson City can do to contest. Their wave clear isn't quite there yet.
Yeah, backup's here, but, you know, the fights have not been going great for Jefferson City, so they definitely just want to try and clear these waves, keep getting that gold to maybe get some key item points on, like the Jinx and the Brand here.
That's, again, what's really the only strategy that Jefferson City has left. They're able to wave clear long enough, scale, get those items. Then potentially Silver Eagle, Jarek, and Trent can try to turn some of these team fights. That's the thing right now, though. Both of their carries, being the Jinx and the Brand, they just don't have enough items. They just don't have the damage necessary.
And a nice bubble. Here comes the Jarvan ult and a 5-man Rakan ult, keeping everyone in place from Jeff City. Huge damage coming out from that Xayah throughout the entire team fight. And that's going to be a 4-0 for Rockbridge. They might not even need the Baron at this point.
That was clean. And that's just what you see when teammates are on the same page when you pick compositions like this. Jordan goes forward with the ultimate, followed up very quickly by Dawson. You just know that Rockbridge was on the same page there.
Yeah, definitely. And that is the power of that Xayah Rakan bot lane. Just Rakan able to lock everyone down. Same with the Jarvan. Xayah does a lot of damage through everyone with her feathers.
Oh, the death timer is too long. Actually, it looks like Rockbridge is going to end this game here. I wasn't really sure. But with the 4 members down for Jefferson City, Rockbridge actually take the game here.
Yeah, really well played. Huge gold lead there at the end. Able to just take that early lead that they got and just snowball into all the objectives, all the team fights. Really well played.
Really want to watch that again. Like we said before, it looks like they were rotating right to the mid lane after taking that first tower. All 5 members of Rockbridge make it to the mid lane. They secure the second tier tower as it was already very, very low. And we're going to see the initiation very, very soon here. On the flip side, though, we see all members of Rockbridge getting up, shaking hands with the opposing team, Jefferson City, and that's always good to watch. Huge engagement coming out of both Dawson and Jordan.
Yeah, again, really well played. Just too much crowd control all at once there. That's going to be a really good way to close out the game.
Yeah, and that was kind of unexpected how quickly they ended the game there. A very slow start, but they found the right picks, the right engages throughout the game as they needed to, and they just translated it pretty well into objectives. So that ace there at the end, I wasn't sure if they had time to end it, but they took almost 4 towers, the inhib, all in the last maybe 3 minutes of the game.
Yeah, Rakan probably being the MVP right there. I think every team fight he got at least 3 people, even 5 in some of those fights, and he was just able to keep everyone locked down long enough for his team to deal damage, and you can't really retaliate from that. So.
And so with that, actually, we're going to jump into a short intermission before we get into the A-team games. Stay tuned. Don't leave those browsers. And we're going to jump into Jefferson City A and Rockbridge A very, very shortly. So stay tuned. All right, and we are back on this Friday night to the high school Ukatsu eSports League. Welcome back. We just got back from the intermission between a very, very almost kind of fast Rockbridge and Jefferson City B team games. Very convincing win after a couple of tiny, small team fights. Right rotations, Rockbridge B took the game pretty convincingly. But we're about to jump now into the A game rosters for both Jefferson City and Rockbridge High School. Rockbridge A is currently sitting at 2-0, the only undefeated team left in the league across the board for A's and B's. And said it before, after tonight, the first round robin of games will be complete. So I think Rockbridge is definitely trying to close out this game with a clean 3-0 and sit prominently at the top of the standings. And we're going to see, though, if Jefferson City, though, can come back. We know that they've struggled a little bit earlier on throughout this league, and I think some of that can be attributed to the fact that they are a newer team. They haven't been playing together as long as Rockbridge, as Hickman, per se. And potentially here, we're going to see if they can get a little bit of an upset win tonight. I think that'd be very good for the motivation and the morale of the team. But we know on the flip side, though, that Jefferson City has very, very passionate players. After every single game we've seen them the last couple of weeks, they've all been very excited about future games down the road. And great group of kids. So as we know, a lot of members, actually, we're in Columbia, Missouri right now. And so Jefferson City, they're the only team that has to travel to this venue to come out. And there's a lot of parents and fans as well as friends in the crowd. So we want to hear it for Jefferson City. Thank you guys for coming out tonight. All right, and of course, so when we get the chance now, we're going to slow down as we jump into the picks and bans for both Jefferson City A and Rockbridge City A. All right, whenever you guys are ready, guys, we'll jump into picks and bans. I don't know if they're actually ready. And they are, though. Here we go. Into picks and bans for Jefferson City and Rockbridge. All right. So, starting it off here, we have Rockbridge on the left side, the blue side per se, represented by Andrew VexQ in the top lane, Jeffrey Galaxy Fox Mullen in the jungle, Justin Kill Excel in the mid lane, Michael Xsim in the 80 carry position, and Sean Jahong in the support role.
Yeah, and on Jeff City, we have Waddledosh in the top lane, Yugi 957 in the jungle, Escape Velocity in the mid lane, Turtle and DJ Rice in the bottom lane. And the bans coming out, we have Anivia and Tristana, both late game carries from the mid and 80 carry position. Escape Velocity, I believe, played that in a previous week.
Yeah, Cameron Day in week 1 brought out the Anivia pick. Really, it looked really, really strong, actually. It's not your traditional meta kind of support pick, and I think that might be a respect ban. We've seen the Escape Velocity of Cameron coming out to kind of be the primary carry for Jefferson City A, and it seems that Rockbridge is showing him a little bit of respect there, taking away the Anivia pick.
Yeah, and to follow that up, 3 jungle bans for the last 3. The Zach Warwick and the Amumu. Amumu a little unconventional.
Also a pick, though, that Yugi has selected before. Tool Yugi 957. Very aggressive kind of jungler in the sense he likes to pick these really hard engage. And that is what Amumu essentially does. The very sad mummy kind of character. He has a lot of engage. Just he's not very meta. You don't see him very often in competitive play.
Yeah, and with all the other good, super hard engaged tank junglers taken out, Sejuani is the first pick up here from Rockbridge. Just a solid pick all around. We've seen her plenty this season. And Waddledosh getting the Gangplank. And he's kind of like a Gangplank one-trick. Yes. He really specializes on that champion. So I'd be interested to see if he can pull off a star performance. He had a really good game last week on the NAR, even though they were still not able to get the win, but really impressive play from him so far. So maybe on his main champ, he'll be really comfortable and able to carry this.
I'm sure we're going to say his name a lot. Chase Waddledosh in the top lane for Jefferson City. He played Gangplank into Dark Quacker in week 1. Dark Quacker, Michael Joe, is the Diamond 1 top laner in this league. Probably the star player across the board for everyone here. And he played decently well into him. And I have to say that it's kind of strange that Rockbridge wouldn't isolate that pick and take it away. We know that last week Battle did for sure. And maybe they have an answer for it, I guess.
Yeah, and it looks like they picked up Camille for the top lane here. So they're looking to pressure him early, which is where Gangplank's at his weakest point. Gangplank just wants to kind of farm and hit about 3 items where he can really impact the map either from a side lane or in a team fight. And the Galio, the last pickup here, so the entire top side of the map has been picked up by both teams. Really aggressive, a jungler early with Volibear. When he gets that Predator, he gets his boots early on in the game, he can just charge in and take over any situation. And in the mid lane, the Cassiopeia into the Galio. Again, Galio very good, mobile pressure, but Cassio has a lot of 1v1 potential. So we'll see how that lane plays out. Here come the bot lane bans though. Xayah being banned out. Stopping that Xayah Rakan combo coming
that we saw
through.
last game.
Yeah,
Rockbridge.
very potent.
Also, the Janna ban. Actually, we saw Sean Jahong actually put his hands up in the air. He looked pretty exasperated seeing the Janna ban taken away from him. That is a very comfortable pick for him. We've seen him pick it multiple times, and you know, and again, these players know each other. They're targeting the picks that people are comfortable on, as well as Janna is also just a very meta pick, a very good disengage kind of champion.
Yeah, and Rockbridge banning ahead, going ahead and banning the Jinx and the Draven, 2 AD carries that can snowball if they get a lead early. So I'd be interested to see what Rockbridge go for, and it's the Vayne pickup. So the Jinx and the Draven can kind of bully Vayne early in lane, so maybe they're looking to keep her safe. And the Jhin might be in response here. Jhin is also pretty safe in the lane, so
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how that played out. It depends on what support Jhin is paired with, though. If he gets paired with like a Morgana or anyone with a lot of harass, Jhin can get the roots, and it can be pretty. It can turn pretty scary.
Yep. I will say into response, I do like the Jhin into the Vayne. Michael, traditionally also a very aggressive AD carry kind of player. Jhin has a little bit more wave control, a little bit more poke out of his abilities, and he could potentially punish this Vayne out of Turtle.
Yeah.
I will say though, Kang, Turtle for Jefferson City, they've selected a very scaling kind of composition. Like you said before, the Gangplank, the Vayne, they take a while to get their items and get really, really strong. So if Jefferson City is able to stall out the game, not give away too many kills or objectives early on, they're going to be a very scary late game, especially with the Lulu being locked in. It's a very support champion that can buff characters like the Vayne, which is a hyper carry, and it's a very good duo synergy in the bot lane for Jefferson City. I think that's a good comp to round it out, and they put together a pretty scary team. On the flip side, though, I think we see a lot of comfort picks coming out for Rockbridge. Actually, probably across the board. We see picks that have commonly been selected throughout this league so far. We've seen Yugi 957 play Volibear before. Of course, Gangplank, Waddledash's one trick, something he's very comfortable on. And then we've seen Camille, something that we know Andrew VexQ is also comfortable on. So it's a game that's going to hopefully be played at a higher level just because these players are familiar with the champions they're playing.
Yeah, and right off the bat, we're going to run through these team comps. It looks like on the side of Rockbridge, they have a lot of like hard engage. They have ways to start the fights. And again, on the Jeff City side, they have a lot of ways to either disengage the fights, but not a lot of ways to really get in there. Their only way is Volibear just charging right into 5 people and maybe having the Galio follow up. So they're going to be looking to make a lot more defensive plays, definitely in the affecting the side lanes with that Galio and the Gangplank. A lot of globals, hopefully able to counteract the aggression from Rockbridge, but we should expect Rockbridge to be making the initial engages here. Definitely have initiative in these fights.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen a lot out of Hickman High School. We've seen like the Galio pick making plays all over the map. We see the Gangplank who also has global ultimates. Now when we say global, we mean that they have abilities that can affect anywhere on the map, no matter where the players are standing. So that leaves room for Jefferson City to make plays, and I think that's what they're going to need to do to keep themselves pretty even. Because we know that Rockbridge traditionally the last 2 weeks, they played very aggressively. They found leads in the lanes they needed to, and they translated that all over the map. So we're going to see if Rockbridge or Jefferson City can respond with the picks they've selected.
Yeah, and with the defensive comp like Jeff City has put together, it's definitely easy to punish those over aggressions. If they can communicate well and just coordinate with the Gangplank goal, Vayne can clean up fights where people are scattered or maybe pushed too far forward.
I think that's what's really all going to be about. Can Turtle stay alive in this game? Can he position very well and attack the right characters without getting jumped on by the Camille or getting hit by a weird Sejuani ult by Jeffrey? And that's what's going to come down to. Honestly, though, if I'm speaking strictly from team compositions, I think Jefferson City has a stronger comp. I think with the identity and they play to their win conditions, I don't think Rockbridge is going to be able to combat that kind of comp later on in this game if they can get to that point.
Yeah, in the late game, a lot of pressure is on that Camille to assassinate and get in the back line. And if he doesn't find those opportunities, he's not incredibly useful. But another key pick to look at is the Morgana. Morgana is definitely kind of a hit or miss champion. If you can block the crowd control with that dark binding, if you can hit, or the black shield, if you can hit the dark bindings, very strong. But if not, you could just face check the wrong bush and get one shot as well. So could go either way with those picks.
And so we will say something that allows teams to stall out games, like we talked about before, allowing them to scale, is it comes down to wave clear. And that means champions need to have abilities that can kill lots of minions pretty quickly. Minions, of course, are the monsters that push down the lanes that make it easier to kill turrets. And if Jefferson City, who have selected characters that do have a lot of wave clear, if they can keep those minions at bay, they can stall this game out pretty long, allowing their team to get items. That's something I guess they struggled with in the B team game. They didn't have as much wave clear. They couldn't really stop Rockbridge B from taking control of the map. And I think they have tools for that this time. Both the Galio, the Gangplank, they have wave clear.
Yeah, a lot more wave clear in this draft compared to the B team game. We're just about to hop into loading screen here.
Yeah, so again, these players have already been in game for the last 3 minutes, but our spectators' delay is now over. So we will be jumping into game very, very shortly. And we're excited, of course, to wrap up the 3rd week of the Ukatsu High School Esports League. For the most part, I'm just very glad this is happening. I'm very happy to see so many people in the audience. I'm very happy to see these kids on stage. And again, like this wouldn't be possible. When I was growing up, I would have wanted nothing more than to play high school esports with some of my closest friends by my side, and it's just very exciting. How many of you guys in the crowd are excited to watch these teams compete tonight in High School Esports League? All right, so we're jumping onto the rift right now between Rockbridge High School, Jefferson City High School, and we're going to round out the first 3 weeks in the first round of round robins.
Yep, last game of the round robin coming in.
All right. So it looks like we might see traditional starts. We see multiple pings though coming out on the Jefferson City side. Again, just for reference, Rockbridge is on the left side of the map. They are blue. Jefferson City is on the right side. They are red. J-Honk walking right into a very aggressive invade.
Yeah, looks like this is a planned 5-man invade. The Morgana bind is a very long-range ability, can lock someone down for a 1.5 level 1. So they were just looking to maybe get an early pick and invade that jungle, but binding misses and they call it off.
Yeah, I thought we were going to see some action there early on. It's normally we call an invade when the entire team is coming into the enemy's jungle. The jungle being the kind of the fog of war areas on either side of the map. It's where the junglers kind of farm their camps. That's where they get their gold, get their items, and it's not considered one of the 3 lanes. And so early on, some of the laners from the bot side traditionally have to help their jungler kill one of the early camps, and it's called leeching. And so that's what it looked like Rockbridge was trying to abuse, trying to catch out some members of Jefferson City early on. Looks like, though, they were spotted, and Jefferson City responded pretty well.
Yeah, something to look out for. Rockbridge is starting on the top side of the map with their jungler. That means their bot lane doesn't have to leech, and so they are going to position in this bush and hopefully catch out Jefferson City as they rotate bot lane. If they go through the river, it's a little risky because of plays like this, and it looks like they're going to go the safe way around the tower. Definitely smart. Morgana has binding level 1, so she might try and sit in this bush a little bit longer and get the bind off, but good job on Vayne to dodge that, and she goes a little bit too far forward without her support. Takes a little bit of harass, yeah.
Half of Turtle's health goes down pretty early to the engage. Little tiny trades coming out in the 2v1, and that's going to hurt, though.
Yeah, and Cassiopeia, a strong champion in the early game, able to harass escape velocity right when she hits level 2, just utilizing that level advantage. Really well played. Galio's going to catch right back up, but a lot of health down already in the mid lane.
Yeah, we'll say Justin KillXL, that is also one of his comfort picks. Ooh, another engage coming out in the bot lane. We see the Lulu burning the flash. DJ Rice almost going down early on to the aggression that is Jaehong and XSim.
Yeah, and I think the Lulu just missed one creep worth of experience coming to lane a little bit later than Vayne. And so Rockbridge was able to hit level 2 earlier. They got a bind down, and it's just a ton of damage that Jin can follow up with. Really, really obnoxious lane to lane against Jin and Morgana. If they hit any skill shot, you're basically out of the game. But Bully here early is going to get caught up and rooted. Sejuani's right behind them, though. If they overextend here, they could be caught out. Dashing in onto Volibear. Might be able to get the stun off here in the creep wave. Heal just enough to get Bully out of the way, though.
We say multiple summoner spells coming out. Oh, cheeky flourish coming out from XSim. Doesn't quite kill Turtle, though. And the counter gank by Rockbridge, evening out the summoner spell trade. We saw Jaehong burning both Flash and Ignite, as well as XSim burning Heal to save him. But in response, Turtle had to also burn Heal to save Tool Yugi 957. Oh, they do pick up first blood, though, in the bot lane. Looks like Morgana does kill Vayne. The Turtle ends up staying way too long. First blood goes over to Rockbridge.
Yeah, and it's just all those skill shots being thrown at you. When you're that low under tower, you have to respect it. You have to just recall and take the loss there. And unfortunately, it doesn't happen. And a lot of fighting going down in the mid lane as well. KillXL being able to push the creep wave in a little bit faster and get the early recall.
Yep. We'll say for Cameron Day, escape velocity in the mid lane, Galio, it's something he needs to wait. You need to get a little bit more items, and eventually he'll be able to wave clear way quicker than KillXL, and that'll probably relieve some of the pressure that's going on early. But we're seeing a cheeky engage coming out by Jeffrey Galaxy Fox in the top side of the map. Not something you traditionally see from a Sejuani. Oh, he does steal the red buff, though, away from Yugi.
Yeah, really well played. Both junglers had smite up, so that was basically a 50-50 chance to see who got it. On Galaxy Fox with the initiative there, using one of his abilities comboed with his smite. Really well done. To do a little bit more damage than Yugi could. And now he's got a level lead, as well as info on the enemy jungler.
Yeah, the deep wards there. And that's just something that is very traditional of Galaxy Fox. He's always played such an aggressive style, and he always likes to find ways into the enemy jungle. And just didn't look like anyone on Jefferson City's side was able to respond.
Yeah, and these mid laners just constantly fighting. Something that we haven't really seen a lot in these games. Usually the mid laners just play to get their items to scale up really well. Both of them looking to maybe make their mark on this game.
All right, we see Justin KillXL pushing his wave, and looks like he is pinged on the way. He's trying to roam down to the bot lane for a gank.
Yeah, and their Warden River actually just died. It looks like they're communicating really well, though. Able to call it that the Casio might be bot lane, because they don't see your mid.
Good communication across the board for these teams. These are the 18 rosters, so potentially maybe a little bit higher level communication, maybe a little bit different kind of synergy or strategies going on here. That we know these teams practice a lot on their own. And for the most part, usually it really, really shows. A comparison compared to like your normal solo queue games or when people are just playing this game for fun. Oh, huge engage coming out of escape velocity. He finds the knockup and the taunt onto Justin.
Yeah, a ton of burst damage. Because Galio has that dash, he gets a lot of the initiative in these fights. So if he can go in for those quick trades, he may end up winning in the long run. Now that Casio is 6, though, her ultimate is a giant serpent that she sends out in front of her. And if anyone's looking at her, they get stunned. So Galio will be forced to look at her when he dashes forward. So now he has to be a little bit more hesitant in dashing in like that.
It looked like Galaxy Fox was trying to find a gank on the lane here. Ended up wasting a little bit of time, didn't find an opening. On the other side of the board, though, we see a huge CS lead kind of growing in the top lane as well as the middle lane like we've been watching. Andrew pulling ahead of Waddledosh, currently up by 12 CS. And in the mid lane, Justin is beating Cameron by about 20 CS already. And that's pretty significant 7 minutes into the game.
Yeah, it looks like Volibear's maybe looking to flank them and get a gank bot, but there is the binding into the Deadly Flourish. Gonna keep him in place for 3 seconds there. He's unable to move just by those 2 long-range abilities. Really frustrating to try and gank against.
That's good vision control. They're tracking Yugi across the map, he's having difficulty finding an opening. He's getting his jungle stolen by Galaxy Fox, and oh, looks like they get another ward on his blue buff here.
Yeah, interesting to note, Galaxy Fox has not recalled yet. He is still with one item, so he just has that starting jungle item. He's actually very weak relative to other players on the map who do have combat stats. Your jungle item only gives you the ability to kill these monsters faster, not other players. And he's going to get a leash from his bot lane just to make sure that it's not stolen. Galaxy Fox flashing forward actually to try and steal that, but
that's a little cheeky.
Yeah. A little ambitious there. He doesn't end up getting it. If he did, it would have been maybe a highlight play just for fun. But
yeah, he burned a summoner spell that's on a 5-minute cooldown just to take away the blue buff from Yugi. Again, those are just some odd decisions going on there. But that's just Jeffrey's style of play. He likes to abuse and try to make the other junglers feel the pain. But luckily enough, though, we see members of Jefferson City coming up to assist Yugi in the jungle. We see Cameron escape velocity getting real low. He's going to have to recall here. He's getting pressure. He's getting a lot of pressure up against Kill Excel. Something we actually don't normally see either from Justin. He doesn't usually play as aggressive as we're seeing him now.
Yeah, both the bot lane and the mid lane from Rockbridge are playing very aggressive in these matchups. And then in the top lane, we haven't even seen really any aggression. There hasn't been a lot of, there hasn't been any kill threat really, as it seems, which is where you'd expect it to happen the most. With that Camille, she really looks to, 1v1 the enemy laners. They're giving over the blue buff to Cassio here in the mid lane as well. Level 8, highest level on the map.
Of course, as champions get higher in level, they get their stats scale, meaning they'll get more health, more damage, they'll get more points in their abilities. And I think that's what Rockbridge, the whole plan was, for them to be a little bit more aggressive here. We said before, throughout this game, Jefferson City's only going to scale, they're going to get stronger, and they probably have the better composition the later this game goes. So it makes sense that Rockbridge is trying to force the early aggression, trying to force the plays around the map to close out this game before they hit that late game arc.
Yeah, and something interesting to look at in the top lane CS, 71 to 65, and even though that Gangplank is behind, he's actually ahead in gold due to his passive, where he gets a little extra gold from using his Q on the creeps. So actually, in terms of top lane, Gangplank is right where he wants to be. He doesn't want to fall too far behind, but if he can just stay even, he's actually winning just based on how his champion works. And it looks like they're going to put pressure on him right now with the gank coming in the top lane. Ult to keep him in place. Really good stopwatch there. Whoa. And the flash to dodge the Sejuani ult. Well played by Waddle Dash. Yeah. Perfectly dodging that gank, and he still has full HP, so he can just sit here and wait for there.
That's good. So that's information that they see on the top lane. Jeffrey was now seen top side of the map, so Yugi and Escape Velocity trying to find an engage on Justin. He's kind of ahead, though. Again, he's currently up by almost 40 CS.
Yeah, and Sejuani showing up just to give him that backup. No ult in Sejuani, so not a lot of kill threat, but they will dodge that gank. Really well played by KillXL.
Yeah. On the other side of the map, though, while all of that was going on, bot lane does find a kill onto Turtle. Michael X-Sim picks up his first kill of the game. Turtle dropping once again. He's currently down by 40 CS. It's a rough place for him to be in.
Wow, yeah, and that invade into the jungle by Cassiopeia, hunting down Volibear, burning his flash. Again, that's a 5-minute cooldown. So he won't be able to do anything super aggressive until 16 minutes into the game because Cassio made that play. And because they had vision on Volibear, they're going to go ahead and just take that Infernal Dragon. Really good start again by Rockbridge.
Very, very kind of tempered aggression. Other than the weird flash that we saw come out of Galaxy Fox early on, all of their aggressive plays have been safe. They haven't risked too much by playing so aggressively, and they've made very calculated decisions throughout the map. See, even right now, they are inside the jungle of Jefferson City, but they have 2 members, and they take down Yugi deep in his own jungle.
Yeah, the Galio coming in, but just a little bit too late. It's not really able to prevent anyone from dying, and he's just in a 2v1 situation, just has to walk away. He's so aggressive by Rockbridge.
And I think a lot of this is attributed to their vision. See, what they're doing, even though they're making these hyper-aggressive plays, they're deep in the enemy jungle, they know that it's safe because of their vision. They know that there's no other members of Jefferson City can respond quick enough, and they're able to find real positive trades all over the map.
Yeah, these leads are just going to keep growing. Even though there's only a few kills gone across, it's already a 3,500 gold lead for Rockbridge. And they're going to go ahead and just dive this Galio who's sitting under tower with about 300 HP. Easy pickup with that Sejuani ult. Really good coordination. The flash ult from KillXL perfectly executed to get the stun on the Vayne. Wow. They are not letting up.
I think that's something we've seen every single week. We've seen this Rockbridge team play. It looks like they've gotten better and better and better. They're currently out 5 kills, although Yugi picks up the first kill of the game for Jefferson City. On to Jeffrey Bolt.
A little bit too far forward. Volibear has a ton of area of effect damage and the execute on his bite, so able to get 1 kill back at least.
Yeah, but Tool finding that kill onto the Sejuani. A little bit of reprieve. Currently, though, the gold lead is in favor of Rockbridge High School. About 4,000 gold ahead. Of course, they're 4 kills ahead as well. And they're doing what they need to do. They just need to kind of step on the gas, find these objectives, just like they're finding all these kills all over the map, so they can shut this game down. Because, Jefferson City, they're still going to scale. We say it over and over again, Jefferson City, they'll still scale. But essentially, though, these aggressive teams, these aggressive decisions by all these comps, they're paying off.
Yeah, definitely. The early game does look like, if you're able to lock it down, a lot of times you're able to finish out the game, but a lot of these teams, especially newer teams, struggle with kind of finishing out the game. Once you get these outer towers down, what do you go next? Where do you go after the conditional lanes are in order? And it looks like Waddledash just getting jumped on by that Camille, trading back okay with it. But Galio is in the lane with them. Camille just going straight for the ult, trying to solo out the gangplank, and he will. The taunt just being short, and he flashes out. Cassio to follow, so no more aggression from this Galio. Just really well played. Galio's ult not up in time, probably in the next 15 or 20 seconds, so the timing on that play is just a little bit off.
Yeah, very well played by Andrew Bexq in the top lane. Essentially a 2v1 situation. He does find the kill on Waddledash. I'd like to see it, though. We did see the roam coming up in the top lane from Escape Velocity.
Yeah, they're trying to get the initiative in some of these fights, which is what they need to do, but unfortunately it just didn't work out that time.
Yeah, you got to wonder if, obviously, as the season goes on, and we're only in week 3 out of the 9 weeks of the regular season, you got to wonder, are we going to see some more teams adapt to this more early, aggressive kind of play? Because we've seen multiple teams select scaling late-game comps, and most of the time, they never get to that point. They never get to see the fruits of their labor. They never get to see them at full power because the early aggressive teams.
Ooh, Jin looking for that kill on the low Lulu, but it looks like everyone else is showing up from Jeff City. Rockbridge might not have had the backup to make this play. They're going to get the Morgana. Great predict by the Galio to catch the Morgana in her flash.
Yeah, we'll have to highlight that in a little bit here, but Cameron, Escape Velocity, he actually predicted where the flash was going to come out for Sean, and they pick up
on the other side of the map, they're going to make the same play and just dive this Gangplank. The teleport coming in from Galio a little too late. The Gangplank ult not enough to keep them at bay. Really well played by Rockbridge. You see the enemy team collapsing on the bot side of the map. You go to the top side and make the same play so that you keep up in tempo.
I would have hoped, actually. Personally, I think Jefferson City might. Oh! Snipe coming out from Michael X Sim, securing another kill onto Turtle.
And I think that was the bouncing grenade there, just getting the 4th tick on him. Really.
Yeah, that's first tower goes down, as well as the Rift Herald over to Rockbridge. That's a really good start for them. I was gonna say,
Rockbridge doing really well. They have more people topside. They get the kill. They take the objective. Looks like they're gonna reset here.
Yeah. From a personal preference there, Jefferson City, for the first time in this game, they found the advantage in the bot side of the map. They got the pick on Jaehan. I think they should have kept their members down there and tried to force that tower, or at least tried to find a similar situation where they had 3 people, only 1 person left on Jefferson City, or on Rockbridge's side.
And 3 versus 1, and they weren't able to punish or
that's where Rockbridge in the top lane, then they had 3 members
out
top.
of it. Yeah, the Dragon wasn't up though, so they didn't have any neutral objective, which is why Rockbridge went topside. Dragon up in 15 seconds here, though. Let's see. It looks like a lot of people on Rockbridge are hovering towards the top side of the map, so maybe they're just looking to start knocking down these turrets early.
Yep. And something that harder, I guess, to subscribe to those of you who might not understand League of Legends. But for a lot of these members, not everyone on the map can see everything. There's the fog of war, and only teams can see what their wards can see or what their other team members can see on the map. So there's this thing called vision score, and it usually means how well you're putting out your own wards, how much you're clearing enemy wards. And currently, the vision on the side of Rockbridge is significantly higher than Jefferson City, and that's kind of what's allowing them to make such aggressive plays around the map.
Yeah, definitely. Here we can see Camille walking over a few wards. They know she's hiding around the bottom lane. That dragon just spawned, though, and because there's no vision, this is what Jefferson City can see if you look at the map here. Really dark all across the map. They're just being pushed in all these waves. They don't even know that dragon's going down. They have no vision of it. Meanwhile, if we flip to Jefferson City, Rockbridge, they're all pushed up. They're looking for this Vayne here in the bot lane, actually. See if she can get out of this situation. Gets hit by the Sedgel and followed by the Camille stun. Is just locked down and caught out, maybe a little bit too far forward.
And again, now it's currently 9-2 kill lead in favor of Rockbridge High School. They're also up by about 8,000 gold. That's pretty significant when you take into account we're only 18 minutes in the game. And that's what their comp is designed to do, though. They're trying to play hyper-aggressive. They want to end this game early, so...
Yep. Gangplank all being used just to try and clear the wave. Hopefully, stop the turret from going down so quickly. But the next wave's rolling up, and there are 5 people from Rockbridge here. I don't know if they can defend this tower. It looks like they're actually roaming mid, just trying to split the pressure now, just because they know they're stronger in this situation.
Pretty textbook play otherwise, though, by Rockbridge. They're splitting the map, they're moving their vision up, and they're trying to rotate to the points on the map that Jefferson City just can't respond in terms of numbers. We said before, eSports is very much so a numbers game. You want to have like 4v2 situations and that kind of stuff because you know you can win those fights. And they're doing a pretty good job. Like here in the mid lane, you see 3 members of Rockbridge with only escape velocity trying to respond.
Yeah, and he just has to kind of concede this tower. Not much he can do to defend it. He either trades his life for it or he just gives it up anyway. So mid turret will go down due to sheer force there.
Seems like everyone on the Rockbridge side, they're going to reset, recalling to buy some more items. Pretty rough look, though, in the gold lead. We see Michael X-Sim currently up by over 100 CS on Turtle. That's rough. That's what you'd call a flame horizon. It's a term coined by professionals. And it's a lot. To be ahead in 100 CS, that means a lot, especially 20 minutes into the game. He is significantly stronger than Turtle.
Yeah, XM here with almost perfect CS. You look at top-tier players, the best in the world, and they're able to, in these high-pressure games, get like 11 or 12 CS a minute. And XM sitting here at about 9, maybe 9.5. So really good showing. Able to just keep that gold generation high, even if he's not getting the kills.
All right, the flip side, though, back to Rockbridge. They're systematically trying to position themselves around the map, the more favorable fights. We talk about wave control a lot. They're keeping their side lanes pushed so they can rotate to these other objectives here. While Jefferson City, they're constantly having to respond. They aren't able to play as proactively, and they just have to respond to everything that Rockbridge is doing.
Yeah, and a lot of pings going down on the Baron. It looks like Rockbridge are going to start it up. And if we look at the minimap here, there's no vision on Jefferson City side, so they have no idea if it's going on. So this is going to get shredded through with Cassiopeia, who's a ton of damage.
So this is one of the neutral objectives, neutral monsters in the middle of the map that goes over to teams when they kill it, and it provides a huge passive buff. So essentially this increases all of the damage that all of the characters on Rockbridge will deal, as well as it gives a buff to their minions. You see the little purple outline over there, the blue guys on the top side of the map here, and it means they're stronger. They're harder to kill, they deal more damage, and it allows Rockbridge to push way more effectively. It's one of the late game requirements that a lot of teams like to secure to close out a game. Now that's effectively what Rockbridge is trying to do here. They're trying to secure a couple more objectives here, trying to break open the base of Jefferson City.
Yeah, Gangplank dropping the ult does clear out that minion wave, but the Baron buff lasts about 2.5 minutes, so they'll be able to just wait it out, wait for the next creep wave to walk up and take this tower. It actually looks like they're going for a flank maybe to try and force them out from under the tower. Gallywalt hitting. So much happening all over the turret, and Volibear just gets caught under the tower without his teammates. They all back up. And it looks like they're trading for a bot lane tower, but I don't know if that's going to be worth it because Rockbridge are going straight for the inhibitor now. And they just don't have the numbers to defend this. Escape Velocity trying to stay under tower there, but against 5 people, they have too much damage for him to defend that.
So that's what that flank really was all about. That tower wasn't enough to protect the 3 members of Jefferson City who were desperately trying to defend the second tier tower. The flank comes in from behind and they pick up clean kills.
Rockbridge looking like they're trying to go for the win here maybe, but it's a 4v5 situation. They have a few low members, so they're able to get that one Nexus tower. We'll get them a little bit of extra gold, but could have been dangerous. Galio's up in 8 seconds. It looks like they're going to use that Baron enhanced recall and get out in time.
Again, looking back now at the lead that Rockbridge does have, it's currently 11-2. They're up by almost 14,000 gold. There's not a whole lot they can do anymore that can stop Rockbridge from taking anything they want. They just don't have the tools. They aren't strong enough yet with enough items to be able to contest any of these fights or any of these objectives. So they're kind of banking on Rockbridge, taking an unfavorable fight, getting caught out. That's probably the only way they get back to these games is if they find a couple of picks.
Yeah, Jeff City would need to clear out some vision, find a part of the map that Rockbridge doesn't have any information on, maybe hide in a bush and just try and ambush someone. Or like XM we see here, kind of pushed up solo. If they just jumped on him right now, he wouldn't have a teammate to back him up, but they're probably just not confident at this point enough to make that play.
Everyone is watching.
Let's say though, some immaculate play coming out though from both Michael and Justin, KillXL and XSim. Very aggressive laners, and you saw it early on. KillXL basically bullying Escape Velocity out of lane multiple times. That's really what allowed them to translate some of the pressure around the map.
Yep, and there goes another dragon over. I believe that was the Aqua Drake, so that'll give them health and mana regen out of combat, so they're able to stay out on the field longer and probably just close out this game here. Baron buff is just about to run out, so they're going to look to shove down the mid lane as quick as they can with these Baron buff creeps. I don't know if it'll make it to tower, but they do have all the pressure they need. It looks like Camille's getting collapsed on in the bot lane by 3 or 4 people, and they're not going to be able to make anything out of that. And meanwhile, they're losing their mid tower and possibly the inhibitor.
It looks like so Jefferson State tried to take a gamble. They were finding a 4v1 situation on Andrew. But on the flip side, 4 members of Rockbridge secure the second inhibitor of the game. They're just knocking down Jefferson City's base.
Yeah, and right now Jefferson City has a 4v5 situation. Camille just now arriving to the fight. It looks like KillXL flashed forward with the ult. He's able to cleanse out of the Galio. Now everyone's caught in the miasma. They're grounded, unable to flash out of this. Cassio is able to clean up that fight, almost single-handedly winning the game for her team, and Vayne left alone. Can't stand a chance against 5 people from Rockbridge. They will clean out this game 16-2 in 25 minutes.
That was huge.
Yeah, Rockbridge looking really clean that game. A lot of damage, a lot of big showings from their carries, and they didn't let up. They didn't let off the gas that game.
That was clean. I would say again, the Rockbridge is looking better and better every single week. Whether it comes to them beating individuals in their own lanes, we see pretty big discrepancies going on individually. We see the bot lane pulling ahead, the mid lane playing very aggressively, and now systematically their macro play has just improved. And whether that's attributed to their new coach, Coach Cobb, who came in 1 week late, he started actually helping them out come week 2. But they're cleanly rotating around the map and ending these games very, very quickly. And so they will close out the first 3 weeks with a 3-0 record. And in return, though, Jefferson City, again, they still have a lot of room to grow. And I think it comes into the fact that they have a lot of players that really know what they need to do. We see team comps that make a lot of sense, and it might just be executing it a little bit better. For the most part, though, a little bit different of a showing. We normally see them put up a little bit more of a fight throughout these games. Even though they have losing matchups, we see them continually getting picks in the last 2 weeks, or at least trying to find advantages. And it seems like they just couldn't find an answer today.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pressure just put out by Rockbridge, and they, like I said, they did not let up on any of that. They got a lot of leads early in lane. They got a few kills, and then they just took all the neutral objectives. They snowballed that into turrets, and they snowballed that into a Baron and just won off that.
Yeah, and so with that, though, that's the last game of the night. So we're going to sign off. We will not have any games next week due to spring break. Both Columbia Public Schools and Jefferson City Public Schools are out of session for their spring breaks. And so we'll be back in 2 weeks with the Ukatsu High School Esports Leagues. Again, thank you to all of our sponsors, Columbia College, Armstrong Teasdale, Veterans United, and Hawthorne Bank for making this all possible. Thank you to the families, parents, and teachers that are coming out to support all their kids. And with that, we'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. I hope you guys had fun. And
I did.
yeah, so we'll see you guys soon.